Hi everyone and welcome to my morning report chart appraisals on Thursday the 25th of February with me, Rich Pro Market Analyst at Tantech Markets. European trading sessions got off to a fairly positive start actually. We've had a strong turnaround in Wall Street yesterday. Big turnaround we saw, and basically we've seen that due to the fact that the oil price rallied sharply from the lows actually. Big turnaround in the afternoon in the wake of the oil inventories report from the EIA. Not a massive sort of surprise in that report, but certainly it may have been due to the fact that the distillates and the gasoline stocks were slightly lower and actually came in terms of an inventory cut, and also we had the EIA crude stocks, which were lower than what we had in the previous days as well. So, in terms of the oil price, we had a sharp rally, and that has driven markets higher. Big turnaround on Wall Street last night, and a big turnaround generally in sentiment. We had the sort of the dollar starting to correct a bit again, also on weaker data. We had some pretty disappointing numbers out from the flash PMIs from the service sector for the states, and that sort of now puts pressure, I think, on the ISM non-manufacturing data next week. But also new home sales were drastically lower than expected as well, so that sort of turned the dollar lower and helped to support the euro. Also helped to support sterling overnight as well. So that's what we've seen there. But also equity indices as well, sharply rebounding today and also on Wall Street last night. But the 10-year Treasury yield is lower today as the oil price has fallen back again. So could it be that this little mini rally that we've got today may not last all that long? It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. But there's still a lot of volatility in these markets. Now the Chinese yuan fixing is again weaker today, and that could also put a little bit of pressure on as China starts to sort of come back on the radar as things to be concerned about for investors. But very interesting that we've got gains today, but exactly how long they last for remains to be seen. Now, we've got quite a bit of data actually today, starting off with the UK GDP data. UK GDP is expected to come in at 0.5% again for the second reading of Q4 GDP, which is in line with the first reading actually, and that's at 9:30 today. And then you've got the durable goods at 1:30 for the states, 0.2% positive on the core data there for durable goods. So that would be a decent return. That would be a 3-month high for durable goods. And at the same time, you've got jobless claims again around about that 270,000 is the expectation there. So no real change there from the weekly jobless claims. Interesting number could come this afternoon, actually at 4 o'clock, with the Kansas City Fed manufacturing index. Now that is sort of came in at 0.8%, 0.8 last time out, and certainly the market will be looking out for that because these regional Fed surveys do have an impact on the market. So watch out for that at 4 o'clock. And then later tonight, we've got the Japanese inflation. The core data is expected to come in at flat at 0.0%. So continuing concerns in terms of no real inflation being driven through their Japanese economy, and surely they're going to be acting at some stage, or the BOJ will be doing some sort of action to try and generate inflation. And with the Japanese yen strengthening so significantly in the recent weeks, then surely you'd think that that is going to be the case. But anyway, my chart of the day is silver. Now the silver chart has been interesting because gold has rallied in the last few days, but silver hasn't, and silver continues to play around with this possible top pattern. Now on Monday we had an intraday breakdown, but then the subsequent close back above the 1505 level sort of maintained the possibility that this is not yet a completed top pattern, and it isn't, to be honest. And I think it's still sort of arguably really sort of consolidating between these two fib levels, although obviously the intraday levels are outside it. But still, the daily bodies of the candles have all been inside this. So the opens and the closes have all been inside these two fib levels of 38.2% and 23.6% between sort of 1509 and 1542. continues to be the case. But look at the momentum indicators on the silver chart. We've got the RSI, which is sort of breaking down, or well, I mean, it's sort of on the brink of breaking down this uptrend. But the MACD lines are a concern. They are now travelling lower. They've crossed negatively and going lower. And the stochastics are the especially concerning feature for me. They are at a 4-5 week low now on the stochastics and continuing to fall. So that suggests deteriorating momentum, and that could ultimately see completion of this top pattern. You'd be looking out for a close below 15.05, which is I think would be the confirmation of the completed top pattern. But also, not only that, you've got this 21-day moving average at 15.07 that has been sort of providing the basis of some support in recent weeks. So that is now coming into play. So this is sort of coming to a head, I think, now. This pattern, we could well see a bit of a changing, a change of sentiment possibly in the next couple of days with this pattern in place. But yesterday's candle was a sort of fairly disappointing one, wasn't it? Today's candle, again uncertain, very small body of the candle, so you're sort of uncertain in terms of exactly how it's going to pan out. But I'd say that this is a sort of feature of a chart feature that could well be seen in terms of this top pattern. Now, the hourly chart is very much neutral. Moving averages all basically flat. Momentum indicators sort of not really showing any real direction. So I think you'd be certainly looking out for a close. I'd say a close outside the fib retracements. Looking initially at 15.09 and then 15.42, so a close either way I think would give you direction. So I wish you good luck in your trading, but the fact is that watch out for the gold chart later, because obviously gold and silver have got a correlation. Gold seems to be sort of the outperformer at the moment, but it'll be interesting to see if this silver price is telling us something that about a gold price correction possibly coming up. But gold price actually still looks pretty good, and I'll talk you through that chart in a bit. So I wish you good luck in your trading today, and I'll speak to you later. Thank you.